I think it's a more urgent outcome, urgently needed outcome. But I'd like to kind of walk back a little bit to your question to Johann. Look, all said and done, we've had an order, we still have an order. It's messy, it's imperfect, it has a lot of room for betterment, but it's still there, And we've seen that change happening. I mean, at one level, some parts of it have been very gradual and progressive. But the last 5 years, there have been a series of shocks which have accelerated that. I think COVID was a shock. The conflict in Ukraine was a shock. What's happening in the Middle East was a shock. So, even in Europe, some years ago, Brexit was a shock. Now the change in the stance of the United States, I think, as the most powerful country, and the rise of China and the impact that it's had on international systems and practices. I think all of this, it's like it's building, and suddenly the cumulative impact of that is hitting us all. So we are today, it's not, I know the last year has been a very dramatic year, but I would still argue it's not just last year. It's really been building over the last decade, particularly over the last 5 years. And we don't have an answer. I mean, what we are seeing is the impact of it on the international system. And now we are saying, okay, how does it take the shock? What will happen? It will take time. But to the extent I can give you a kind of an analytical concept to deal with it, I would say, its world is heading towards greater multipolarity, that there will be many more independent or autonomous centers of decision-making. Probably the most interesting for many of us is Europe, because we have seen, in some ways, a sort of a strategic reawakening of Europe in the last few years. So what Europe does with itself, how does Europe relate to others, is very important. So this, in that context for us, when we looked at all the big polls, I think the one which was most under-realized was our relationship with Europe. And within Europe, in fact, in many ways, our relationship with Germany. If I were to say what has changed in the recent past, we've had really two big back-to-back events in India. The visit of Chancellor Merz. I think it was his first visit to Asia. And then the India-Europe FTA, which President von der Leyen described as the mother of all deals. So I think the two of them actually are creating a new landscape between us. And we hope to take it forward. But I would just add one last point that, the relationships don't happen just by visits and agreements and headline news or even discussions here. They need a lot of comfort building. At different levels in the systems, people need to know each other, call each other, discuss with each other, throw ideas at each other. We need India and Europe and India and Germany to work to build that level of comfort, which I think is eminently feasible. And that's really what I see as the task before us.